Your father did mention your dreams. Daylight hallucinations, he said your mother called them. You still have dreams, don't you? Tell me one. Truly a dream?
Well, that seems a bit far-fetched, but I'll keep it in mind.
Welcome to Terror at Collinwood. I am very much looking forward to today's episode where we'll be discussing the exciting new film, Todd Tarantula. And I have a couple of things I want to let you know about first before we get to that. Mary O'Leary, the director of the Dark Shadows and Beyond, the Jonathan FRID story, has been nominated for Best First-Time Director Feature Film in the Crown Point International Film Festival's Best of Fest, to be held in Chicago this May. The films that receive the most votes will be shown during the film festival in a movie theater. You too can vote. I will put a link in the show notes. You just scroll to the bottom and type in Dark Shadows and Beyond, the Jonathan FRID story. Mary O'Leary is the director of that, so I encourage you to vote for Mary. So head on over and be sure to vote. I'm not sure when the cutoff date is, but hopefully it will still be going on by the time this episode airs. And I will put a link in the show notes. Now, another really cool thing I wanted to let you know about is something really fun that my friend Joseph Anthony Fortinos did. You may also know him as Professor Anton Griffin, a legendary horror host. And he posted these pictures at just the right time because, of course, one of my esteemed guests in this episode is the one and only David Selby. And Joseph did this. Check this out. And for the audio listeners, you can jump on over to the Terror at Collinwood YouTube channel to see these pictures. As you can see, it is the MPC Dark Shadows Werewolf model kit. Now, as we know, the kit was originally designed to represent Christopher Jennings, Chris Jennings in werewolf form. However, Joseph decided to customize it to be Quentin Collins, the originator of the curse from 1897. According to Joseph, I sculpted a vest for him using epoxy and sculpted fur on his neck and gave him a hole on his pant leg. I covered the ground with gravel as opposed to the stone sculpted base. As you can see, this is just really cool. He made this the Quentin werewolf instead of the Chris Jennings werewolf. He made his own vest for it, painted it to look like Quentin during the full moon. So I thought it would be fun to share that in this episode. And I really love how this turned out. Joseph is very talented. He's multi-talented. He's done an incredible job of building and painting these model kits. I love seeing the pictures he posts, and I just thought it would be fun to share these. So thank you, Joseph, for letting me share these on the podcast. And now let's get on to the show. Welcome to Terror at Collinwood. 'Tis I, your hostess, Danielle, aka Penny Dreadful, and I am delighted because you're in for a treat today. I have got the trio to end all trios here. It's that we're going to be talking about the new film, Todd Tarantula, which I was fortunate enough, thanks to Ansel Faraj here, to get a preview screening of, and my mind is officially blown, folks. This movie is beautiful. It's just something like nothing I've ever seen before, and it stars Nathan Wilson and the legendary David Selby and several other fantastic actors we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to introduce our guests, and we're going to jump right into it, okay?
Returning to the podcast is the one and only David Selby, who I am beyond honored to have back on the show. He, of course, is beloved by Dark Shadows fans, past, present, and future, for his portrayal of pop culture icon Quentin Collins. In addition, he's played memorable roles in countless stage productions, films, and television series, including Richard Channing in Falcon Crest, Brubaker in Legion, Paul Reynolds in Up the Sandbox, and many more. He's also a writer and a Lincoln scholar, having written books and performed the role of Abraham Lincoln in Lincoln and James. In Ansel Faraj's Loon Lake, he was Emery Jansen and Pastor Jansen, and can now be seen as a mysterious character named Lucifer Grey in the new Todd Tarantula. A first-time visitor to Terror at Collinwood, though I've enjoyed his work in many movies, is Nathan Wilson, who is an actor, writer, and producer who's performed in many independent features and short films, such as in the Dr. Mabuse trilogy, which I have right here and highly recommend it. The Last Case of August T. Harrison. And he also co-produced, co-wrote, and acted in the film Will and Liz, which is now streaming on Amazon Prime. He also co-wrote the script for the short film Crypto, in which he also starred. In 2018, he founded Round Town Productions and began work on Loon Lake. Along with his castmates in the Last Case of August T. Harrison, he received the LAIFF August Award for Best Ensemble Cast. He plays the character Barracuda in Todd Tarantula. And last but certainly not least, returning to the podcast for the third time, and now you're tied with Mario Leary for most guest appearances on Terror at Collinwood, so congratulations, is filmmaker Ansel Faraj. A director, writer, and producer, his impressive resume includes full-length features and short films. These include Loon Lake, the Dr. Mabuse trilogy, Theater Fantastique, The Most Haunted House in Venice Beach, the new Todd Tarantula, and many more. Ansel won the 2020 Rondo Award for Best Short Film for The 1001 Lives of Dr. Mabuse and the 2021 Rondo Award for Top Live Event, which he shared with Richard Halpern for A Dark Shadows Christmas Carol, in which David played Ebenezer Scrooge, and that was wonderful. I loved it. Well-deserved Rondo Award there. So welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you so much.
Oh gosh, my pleasure, my pleasure. Oh, please, I could have kept going. As you can see, I was like, I had to list all of these wonderful things that you've done. But this new film that just came out, or that's going to be released very soon, maybe by the time this episode goes up, is Todd Tarantula. And it's I was messaging with Ansel after I watched the film to give him my thoughts on it, and it was like watching a cross between like a 1970s blacklight poster merged with like a Ralph Bakshi cartoon. It was something so unique visually, and with a really cool storyline that involves time travel and these mysterious characters. Really fascinating stuff. So Ansel, can you talk to us a little bit about Todd Tarantula and what viewers can expect when they watch it?
Yeah, Todd Tarantula has been something that I've been thinking about longer than the Dr. Mabuse movies, and it's almost happened several times in the past. And what can viewers expect from this? Well, I wanted to make a feel-good movie, a kind of like a hangout movie, like you can watch it and just have a good time and go for a little roller coaster ride through Los Angeles. Through very psychedelic Los Angeles, and hopefully you I don't even know what's like, what else can you expect from it? Just,
I mean,
there's a murder mystery, it's a stoner comedy, it's a sci-fi film, it's a lot of things, and it's its own thing. And
yeah, and the way that it looks, as well as it unique in itself, and kind of the rotoscope
yeah,
that he used to kind of get the feel of the movie, and kind of you get that druggy-ish type of feel with the rotoscope in there. It kind of heightens up everything as well to the movie to kind of
give it a larger than life cartoon feeling,
yes,
which is something I've always had in my head when I started writing this several years ago, more than 10 years ago, really. I always wanted it to feel like, at first, like a Japanese anime like Akira,
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know how to do that with the very limited means that I have. And then I started thinking about rotoscope and shooting it still live action, but then enhancing it in post-production and giving it this like French graphic novel cartoon aesthetic. And so that's what
Yeah.
we have hopefully succeeded with.
Yeah. I mean, that's literally what it looked like during certain parts. I was watching and I said, wow, this looks almost animated sometimes, like an animated feature. There are some really just fascinating visual scenes, and the colors are these very rich, vivid colors throughout the film. It keeps, almost as the film goes along, it keeps like reinventing itself in terms of the color palette, and depending if it's daytime or nighttime or what time period it's in. Very interesting stuff. David, you played a character in the film named Lucifer, and you wear this white suit with the white hat, and the entire film I was wondering, is this guy really Lucifer? Is he really playing Lucifer? And I'm not going to spoil it, but can you talk to us a little bit about this character Lucifer Grey that you play in Todd Tarantula?
Well, I don't know, Ansel and Nate will help me along here. Lucifer Grey, he's just, I don't know, I can't tell you. I so enjoyed reading and then reading the script at first. And I don't know, I just hadn't gotten to play, I can't remember, a role like this. And I thought it was an absolutely wonderful, wonderful role to play. And so I, couldn't wait till we could get in there and mix it up a bit and see what happened.
Yeah.
But I like the, you mentioned the white suit and the hat and everything. All of that, it was just a terrific, fun time. Challenging. But
for me, it was fun to watch David play something that normally probably wouldn't play. I mean, that we know that he can do, of course, but it's fun to see him in a different role than he's had before. So it was very exciting to watch them, and and just kind of manipulates and plays everybody, even though he's still got his David Selby like nice persona and everything, but down deep, like this guy is menacing, and he's troublesome, and he's bad news, and he's using people, and it's
Well, it's a aptly named character, Lucifer. He's just, because you're very charming throughout the film, with a big smile on your face the entire time when you're interacting with Todd Tarantula. But there's definitely something sinister there. And of course, he's this very powerful businessman as well. So you just immediately get a sense of, okay, there's something off about this person. He's not all he seems. What's his ulterior motive here? And you keep waiting to find out what it is, and then you do ultimately find out what it is, and it's a really fascinating twist that happens here in this film. Nathan, your character in the film is called Barracuda, which is a great name for the character, and really interesting character too, and goes through an interesting change in the film. I don't know how much I'm going to let you guys, whatever you want to spoil or not spoil. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's some interesting stuff that happens with your character in this film. Can you talk a little bit about Barracuda, and also your longtime partnership with Ansel? You guys have made a lot of movies together and been involved in quite a few projects. So can you talk a little bit about that as well?
Yeah. So, I mean, this is, I think, the first time the first ever film we did was a very low budget comedy. But besides that film, this is like the first kind of lighter comedy role that I've been able to do, and kind of the side character. So it was a lot of fun to kind of play it up a little bit more. I didn't have to worry about being the lead or being the focus of the movie and having this whole, arch of a character. So I could come in and just kind of play around with this guy, and just kind of, like, I was watching some films at the time about what was that, the rock group that I was
Pam and Tom.
no, the other one. Well,
There's this it was last summer.
yeah, it was
last
so I was watching like this films about just kind of like rebels that are like out there and just kind of like to go out and like cause chaos, and they listen to like heavy rock music or whatever. And I was like, that's where this character would come from. These guys are out there, they're juveniles, they want to get into trouble, they want to get into fights, you know, that's what they do, and that's what they fun. They like to drink and kind of and do some drugs and have some fun. So I was just kind of came at it at that heightened kind of area of that, where this guy likes to party, likes to hang out, and he likes to fight, and he just wants to go along with his best friend and just have the best time at this time as possible. So that's kind of where he came from, or where Barracuda, like where I brought it from. But with Ansel, yeah, we've been working together for about 10 years now, through longer, through starting out as an actor and then starting to write together and produce together and starting making these other movies together. So it's been a fun journey, and it's been fun to play these different characters and all these different movies and write and kind of make these things that, you know, I never would have been able to without Ansel here, you know, having a partner to do all these things.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that too, if I may, about Nate and Ansel, and coming in and getting to the very first time getting to work with them. I thought, oh God, this is terrific. They're young, they're eager, they want to do this, they want to do that. And I just had the very first time I had such a good time. And more than that, I was challenged. It was really a challenge to find, to create, to what, and to be part of the process of their creativity. And I really, I loved that. And I admired what they were trying to do, even if we all didn't know exactly where this was going, you know. And the idea then to come back, and we started doing, as you mentioned, together, other things. We did readings, but then you mentioned the Christmas Carol and other things. And I just thought, oh boy, I found something. I found these fellas may just stay with this, you know.
Wonderful.
Let's see where it all goes. And it's been so far.
We're very passionate.
And a wonderful journey.
Yeah.
I am very delighted to be able to have had the chance to work together. And I'm just as curious, you know, okay, where do we go now?
What's next? Yeah.
And, it's wonderful to be able to work with young creators like Ansel and Nate.
Yeah,
Thank you, David.
we thank you for, you know, working with us and doing these characters and coming into these crazy situations and doing all these things for us.
It's an honor.
It's been an amazing experience, and like I've learned so much from you as well. So it's been an honor for us too.
Several of the Dark Shadows cast members have appeared in these films. Loon Lake was great. You were in that, David, with Catherine Lee Scott, and of course Jerry Lacey was in the Dr. Mabuse films. Theater Fantastique, Laura Parker was in there. Christopher Pennock. You just all these wonderful actors. How did you first meet Ansel and Nate? David, how did you get involved with Loon Lake, the first film you did with them?
Oh goodness, Ansel, that's did we meet prior to Loon Lake?
You came to the original Dr. Mabuse premiere.
Oh, I came to the premiere, right? I did indeed.
Yeah. And that was the first time.
And then you wanted, I believe we wanted to work together. And just we're trying to find the right project. And then we
had Loon Lake.
So that's a story that I grew up with in Minnesota. And I told Ansel about it actually on the first film that we ever did, that comedy. And that was the time that we sat down and we had time to finally write it out and figure it out. And then we had the perfect character for David, because we were thinking about him because I knew they wanted to work together.
It's David had said, you'd said to me, David, you just wanted to play a guy and you didn't want to have a suit. And so we were writing it, and we wrote Emery, who's the farmer, and I said, I think maybe this could be for David. And I hit you up.
Yeah, it was. And then now I ended up what?
In a suit.
In a suit, yeah.
Back to a suit.
But it was a white suit. So
A white suit, yeah. And he does get to wear his black.
Yeah. Wonderful. Oh, that's great. Now we talked a little bit about the look of the movie. It has this very psychedelic look to it, but an animated look to it as well. But it also, I think, will appeal to fans of Dark Shadows too, and because there's also time travel in this film. That's a heavy component of this film. Can you kind of I guess this is a very different type of film than what you've done before from the ones I've seen. It is still kind of in a sort of a fantastic genre, but the look of it and the feel of it and just the dialogue and everything. Like, what can you talk a little bit about the time travel aspect of the film?
Well, the time travel really came because I'd written various iterations of this script like for many years, and I didn't quite have a set through line. At one point, the through line for the story was the drugs and the drug use. At another point, it was the dead body that we encounter at the start of the film. It was more focused on the murder mystery. But in deciding to come back and finally, okay, we're gonna make this movie, I'm gonna stop just thinking about it. I decided what was the through line that interested me the most, and that was Los Angeles history. Because the film had always been an LA piece. I always wanted to use Los Angeles and various locations around Los Angeles, and just make an LA story.
Yeah.
So it is its own kind of character itself.
Yeah, it is a character in the film.
LA, you talk so much about it, and we go around LA.
Yeah. So the idea of jumping around in time then allowed to explore different aspects of Los Angeles and Los Angeles mythology. And yeah, so that's really where the time travel kind of came from. And I hesitate to say anything else because I'm afraid of spoilers.
Yeah, right. That's the tricky part, is not spoiling anything, right? It has a kind of a magical realism vibe to it, I would say. It has that kind of feel to it. What about the soundscape of the film, like the music? I thought that was really cool too. Like, it had a very I can't even describe it, like almost a futuristic kind of a soundtrack to it. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, that came from our sound designer, Ty Barrett, who does all our sounds. And then he did the music, and Ty comes from a very sort of interesting, Ty, his uncle was Hunter S. Thompson.
No kidding.
But I don't think it was his
real uncle, but like
it's not his real uncle, but it's a family friend.
Yeah,
okay.
His dad and Hunter Thompson were like best friends. So he grew up with that. So he comes from a psychedelic environment to begin with. So
he's very, very, he's an amazing at music. Like he can do anything and sound. So he did sound on Loon Lake, and then we know that he played music, and he plays guitars, and he's played in band before as well. So he's very musically inclined. So he knew how to do it, and he knew the feel of how to bring out kind of the feel of the movie, and had tracks and could do other things that
so like the Spanish guitar that we hear.
Oh, that was cool. Yeah.
And so we were just like, we were over there, and he just gets his guitar and he goes, well, I think it could be, and then he and just plays out this theme on his guitar, and we're both like
whoa, that was awesome. So he's a very talented musician and an individual with sound and with playing music. So he dialed him in and figured out a wonderful feel for the movie and the music,
energy, and just a constant drive, throughout the and
it's almost like journey. Like a futuristic druggy kind of vibe to it. It like brings out all this like
all the
anxiety
elements of the
and
movie.
like all the elements of the movie that you're
Yeah, it
interested
had
in.
kind of a Blade Runner-esque kind of a thing going
Yeah.
on. Yeah, I dug that. Now, of course, we have talked, about some of the wonderful cast members in the film, and one of them that jumped out at me was, of course, your lead actor, Ethan Walker. And I was at the end of the film, I was surprised to see that was his film debut. I was, because he just was so natural, and he just was great, fantastic actor. So talk about. Can you talk about him, Ethan?
Yeah. He I mean, this is his very first film. He was like out here from Wisconsin for 6 months and got the audition. He was one of like over 600 guys that auditioned for the part. And then he ended up, this never happens. You never just come from nowhere and you get the title role. Yeah,
I don't know how many did you actually like meet with, and like
about like 5 that I narrowed it down to like 600, and he was one of them. And he was very committed and asked me an inordinate amount of questions, which is fine as a director.
He was very he was very focused. He like knew how he wanted to play the character. And he
came with his own set of ideas, and I would be like, yes, do that, please don't do that, and yes, do that, definitely. And and he was willing to jump in, and he could hold his own against David. And that was a critical thing that I was looking for with any of the actors, of like, David is gonna come in and he's gonna be Lucifer, and he's gonna own this town, and he's gonna own this show, and you have to stand up to that. So he managed to stand up to that.
It was a nice counterpoint between David and Ethan, for sure. Absolutely. And you did a great job. And did you know how to ride a motorcycle prior to?
That's movie magic, Danielle.
The illusion is shattered.
Yes. Yep.
Did you have to ride the motorcycle, David?
No, I may have ridden behind someone at one point.
He didn't have to ride down the road.
Okay.
He was on it. He was
on it. Okay. That counts.
Yeah, nothing's gonna happen.
Another performer in the film, another actor in the film, Emma West was fantastic as Jabez. I loved her character. She was wonderful. I was like, she's just perfect for that type of character. Like, I guess like she's how would you describe that character? As
conciliary to Todd's father. She runs things on behalf of Todd's father and is sort of a go-between, because Todd and his dad have issues, we'll say. Kind of is the go-between. And funny story with her, she was the very first person to shoot on the film. It was the end of May we started, and she only shot for 1 hour. Her entire role was completed in an hour.
She did great.
But she was, she cracked me up every time. Like, I was cutting the film and I'd come to her scenes, and the way that she'd deliver lines just had me laughing as I'm putting it together. And she's so mean and so like,
well, just emotion, like the way she delivered lines.
She was wonderful.
Yeah.
She was,
I couldn't give her enough praise at the premiere that we had. Like, I was like, oh my God, because I never met her until that day. And I was like, you did great. Like, you throughout the whole movie, you're just always kind of there. But we shot one day and like, you're just memorable. And it was, she did an amazing job at that.
Yeah. And the actor who played Todd's dad as well,
Douglas Eames.
Yeah, he was really good too. Yeah.
He's come, he was a friend of Chris Pennick.
No kidding. Wow.
And he came through Chris on Mabuse 2.
Yeah, he was in Dr. Mabuse 2 as a smaller role.
Yeah.
And he's kind of worked his
been
way
a
up, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah.
He's done a couple things.
He's wonderful, and not just fulfilling the role, but as a person. That's what I loved even about Ethan. He's a good actor.
Yep, they're
better
both
person.
Yeah.
He's a very good person, and that makes him anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did
Doug did the great job being the father as well. He's got a lot of stuff going on there, and to be able to bring it out and the way he did, and was very well done.
Yeah. How you mentioned the premiere, which I saw pictures of, and I was excited to see those pictures. And I saw Mary Leary was there, and Catherine Lee Scott was there, and lots. Looks like it was a success. How did it go?
Yeah, it was. I won't say that it was nerve-wracking. It was very weird after like so many years of thinking about this movie and it living in my head that, okay, now we're all gonna watch it. And it was like sort of cathartic to just like let it go. And but nobody had seen a trailer. I've not really spoken about what the content of the movie is, so everybody went in blind.
Or the feel of it,
or the style, or the rotoscope, or anything.
Mhm.
And so we all just sat and let this movie unfold in front of everybody, and they really appreciated, they really liked it. When it was over, it was very rewarding. And there was a lot of people. Like, David showed up and I didn't even get a chance to talk to David. There were so many people. And it was a bit chaotic, but good chaos, because they were excited.
Everybody was excited afterwards, which is what you want at a premiere. Is everybody's excited about after seeing the film, and just kind of the feeling that they got out of the film, and everybody's kind of moving around, and
they went for the roller coaster ride and they enjoyed it. So the job was done proper.
Yeah, it's always fun to sit there in the theater and watch it unfold in front of people that had never seen it before. So now you can finally feel, because I came from, David did as well, from theater and improv background, and you always get that instant gratification when you're in the theater. So, but like when you're doing film, you have to wait like 6 to 8 to a year to get that gratification. Be like, all right, did this work when I tried this as an actor? Was this funny? Did this edit work that we were kind of working on? And
did everything even make the movie?
Yeah, did the scene make the movie?
Get cut?
did the feeling come out in this thing? So you can feel the audience, even though it's up there, so on the screen. So it was nice to get that reaction from the people, and to be there and feel that experience with them.
Wonderful. Great. Now, so this was the premiere of the film. Now, when, where, and how can people watch Todd Tarantula? Do you have any kind of information on the release date or anything?
Yeah, so we're an official selection of the 2023 Hollywood Real Independent Film Festival, and we're going to have our festival debut in downtown Los Angeles. Right now, as we're talking, it's the start of February, so that's happening at the end of February. But the film proper is going to be released in March, the first week in March, and we're doing something a bit different. I'm going to be releasing it myself rather than through a major corporation, because in the past, major corporations have they take a lot of the artist's money that you make. So this is a passion project for me. I've basically paid for this whole film myself with every cent of my savings, and I'm going to be releasing it on Vimeo on demand, so you can still watch it on your Roku. You can still watch it on any Fire Stick device or whatever it is that you have at home, and you'll be renting the film basically from me, the filmmaker, for the artists. And so anytime you rent the film, you're helping support us. You're helping support maybe another film for David and Nate and myself to go and make. And it will then, hopefully there will be a DVD or Blu-ray later on in the year. But the initial release is going to be on Vimeo on demand.
And then maybe spread out to different online platforms after that.
Yeah,
start there.
Is this the Hollinsworth Productions Vimeo channel, or is it a different?
It would be, but I think because it's just Vimeo on demand, it will just be like the Vimeo platform itself.
I see. Okay.
Punch in
Vimeo, or even type in on your Roku device Todd Tarantula.
Oh,
and
okay.
It should pop up.
Under Vimeo.
Under Vimeo, and you can find it that way.
and this is in March. So, and if you want to have a link to that, I can add that. So after that, send me the link and I can put it in the show notes so that people can just click right through to watch it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely encourage people to check it out and support independent film, but also for your own viewing pleasure, because it's really just a fun movie, a fun escape, and just something so visually compelling and different from anything I've ever seen before. So I'm really excited for you guys about this film, and I wish you all the luck in the world with it, because I think you've definitely got a hit on your hands here. This is a really cool movie. Any closing thoughts from any of you guys about?
I just wanted to say that with all of that, I've been blessed in my life to to find acting. I can truly say it has been a blessing in my life. And I've been honored or privileged or fortunate, lucky, whatever you want to call it, to have done a number of things in my career, whatever. But I'm just so happy I'm to have worked with Ansel and Nate, because this film, it's just very special. And I've never done anything that I'm more pleased with, happy with, proud of. And it has to do with working with them. So I'm very thankful for that. And if my luck holds out, I look forward to working with them.
on to the next one.
On to the next one.
Yeah, we got a couple other projects that we're kind of working on, and we have David in mind for a couple other things. We just need to get a couple things in order, and hopefully we'll be out and shooting those.
So we'll amend your statement, David, to if our luck, our collective luck, holds out
a little bit more, then we're gonna
knock on wood. Well, it will, if we just keep working and believing, and
keep going.
Absolutely do that. Yes. Real quick, at the top of the show, I mentioned that Dark Shadows Christmas Carol. Is there any hope for more of those cast reunions where the actors are performing in a different play? Or
I anticipate that we'll get to do something. It all depends on the product, but I do know that where we did smartphone, it's called Smartphone Theater. But getting the folks together to have done a Christmas Carol for all of us, I think it's possible for us to get together again. I know I've talked with some, and so we'll all see what happens.
Sure, with Zoom.
And it's like you coming on and saying, and I don't know.
Yep. Gotta push him to do it.
Whatever.
Just make it happen. Yeah, it was cool. I mean, with Zoom now, it's remarkable that you can be anywhere in the world. You had David Hennessy come back and do that from
Alexandra.
Alexandra.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that was really cool. And you just did the Gift of the Magi in December with Catherine Lee Scott, which was wonderful as well. Smartphone Theater, so lots of good stuff that can be just done. Yeah, that was great. Yeah.
Well, I just talked with the fellow Todd who does the Smartphone Theater, and we're definitely going to do some other projects that.
Oh, good.
Talked about. In fact, I just talked to him this past weekend.
Oh, wonderful.
So, we're all looking, and I know Ansel and Nate are looking and creating as we speak. Going through their ornery heads of what we can
Constantly
come up with.
trying to get things
Yeah.
made is our
What's
our
that
main
project?
goal. What's next, and
Yeah.
how can we go out and have some more fun? It's kind of
Exactly.
what
Oh,
we-
great. I
Yeah.
love it. I look forward to whatever you guys are cooking up. I
We
am
got some good stuff in there. We got
always
some good stuff
always
ready.
looking forward to it. So folks, be sure to keep your eyes out for Todd Tarantula. As soon as I get any kind of information on when it's released, the link, I will definitely add it to the show notes. Definitely, you will not be disappointed with this film. It's remarkable. It really is. And as all of the films you guys have put out are, I really enjoyed this Dr. Mabusa Blu-ray with Jerry Lacey here. Really cool and Nate. Really great stuff here. Some
you.
extra features and really
Yeah.
cool. So keep an eye out for anything that these guys do, because it's always good stuff. So thank you again, guys, for joining me. I really appreciate having you back on the show, and thank you, Nate, for being a first timer here on the podcast. And I look forward to all of the accolades you receive for Todd Tarantula.
Thank you so much for having us all on, and for your praise of the film. Thank you.
And thanks for checking
Thank
it out.
you.
And thanks for checking out all of our work as well. And we really appreciate it.
Oh,
Thank
And thank you, David, for being in it, for agreeing to wear a suit this time.
Hey, are you kidding? I'm what do you call it? I always say I'm blessed. I'm a lucky actor.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate to be able to work with you all.
We're
And
pretty good as well.
and that's one of the great pleasures, finding people who are creating out there, and young creators. And so I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
thank you.
And for as long as they lived, the dark shadows never truly vanished, for there will always be terror at Collinwood. Terror at Collinwood is a Penny Dreadful production.